we have a document that is annually updated that says this is a way to get selected to the different groups and to the different regattas. And we have a seminar in October every year where we present the first draft, and then we have another seminar in January when we say this is the selection program. And to be if you're into the top group doesn't mean that you naturally will go to international regattas. The top group is a group that works over time to enhance performance. But to be selected for international regatta, we have observations on the early regattas, and if we need, we have seat racing, special seat racing. If I need to select between you two, I will seat race you for a special boat. And to the group, of course, every time after the season we will sum up the results, and we will have test scores to select the group, and also we have evaluation documents. I mean, if you're not able to fulfill a training diary, if you're not able to organize yourself around training, if you don't have the technical skills, you might not be able to make the top group. So it's not only ERG scores, as in some systems. So it's a broad evaluation if you're going to be able to make the top group. So we have some what we think is success factors for our system, and we believe very much in long-term work. That's also why we don't pay so much attention to the junior results, because we need people who are able to work for a long time in rowing. And we know that we are better when we work together. When we look on the result for Norwegian result for the last 50 years, you can see that the more centrified the best rowers were, the better are the results over 50 years. And we know that we need to be creative. We need to find solutions that are special, because we are from Norway, which is a country with ice and snow. So we need to find solutions which are a little bit outside the box at occasions. And we work a lot with values. We believe in having a decent environment, and I will come back to how we do that. But we have goals for behavior that we do with the group every year. And we try to only give attention to things that we can change. I mean, there is ice in Norway now. We can do nothing about that, so we don't focus on that. We go cross-country skiing instead, because we know that is a really good training. And what I've learned also is that sometimes we need to discuss things, but then you have to take in consideration the result from the discussion. If I already made up my mind, I won't have any discussion.
Вы вывозите свои команды тренироваться куда-то за границу?
Yes, we will go to Portugal 1st of March for 2 weeks, and then we'll go home for 2 weeks, and then we'll go to Portugal again for 2 weeks, and hopefully there will be ice to be off in Norway. And next year, when the Olympics is coming already in July, we will have more camps through the year.
С 1 марта это не поздно выходить на воду.
Our opinion is that will be enough. But we also we do a lot of ergometer training, but we're really keen on coaching on ergometer as well. So we're really keen on that. It's going to be a short transformation time between ergometer and rowing. If I let people just sit on the ergometer and sit like that, then it will take a long time. But if we work with the hip on the ergometer as well, then we will have an easy way from rowing to the ergometer. I believe that we're doing quality kilometers even off water.
Количество участвующих на соревнованиях на юношеских в Норвегии.
Are about 300. About 300.
А в клубах общая численность, если так?
I think that from 13 to 18, it's about 600. So there are we're having a test system, and there is about 500 people who sending in result to the federation every year.
Чтобы попасть в топ юниорский, ну, чтобы заметили человека, у них есть какой-то тест там на концепте, какое время, если он есть?
I think that if you're 16 to 18 years old, I think that if you as a heavyweight man can do under 620, as a woman, heavyweight open class woman, if you can do under 715, I think you have a potential. Frida Svensson, when she was a junior, she did 710. She ended up at 648, and she was the year she was world champion. She did 648, so that is a normal progression, I think. The average for the first medal in Norway and Sweden is 25 years to earn your first international medal. And I have coached 7 world champions, and none of them has a medal for the junior world championships. That is an important perspective, and it's, for us, it's really important to think about how can we create an environment that people want to stay in from their 18 to 25 to do the work and get no pay, no financial support, and not any especially good results. So we have to create a system that is attractive. I'm thinking more about how to create an attractive system than I think about rowing technique and physiology. And here is an example of a long-term development. I started to work, I was a teacher in a school, and I started to work with Frida Svensson when she was 16 years old. And she increased the training volume from 450 hours when she was 17 until 1997. Then she trained about 700 hours. And when she was 16, 17 and 18 years old, and even up until she was here 2003, she was 23 years old. I don't think she will be identified in any talent selection system. And this, I think this is a normal progression. She lifted her VO2 max about a liter from she was 16 until she was 29. And increased her anaerobic threshold. After the Olympics 2008, we identified her as too weak. She was not strong enough. So we did a project with weight training in 2008, and she lifted her squats and her bench pull a lot. And I think that is one of, if there's one thing that differentiates men from women in rowing, is that women has to be proportionally strong in the upper body than men has to. So when I started to work with her, she could almost doesn't do one chin up, and then she ended up by making 15. Before it was prohibited almost in Norway and in Sweden to do weight training for young people, but now we have in Sweden there is a Russian physiologist, Michael Tokonogi, who had turned that up. So if you're doing the right kind of weight training when you're young, you could start at 12 if you're doing the right things. But then you have to be really aware of technique, and you have to be and you do it mainly with your body. I think that starting with heavy weights, especially on your back, it's like 15, 16 years. When we do our planning, of course we have to. What is the vision? What are the objectives? What do we want for the years? We use science, of course. We read papers. We have all the plans that I do. I can send into the Norwegian Olympic Committee, and there is people who actually look on it, and they're taking notes, and we have a meeting around the plan, and that is mainly the plan that you have got, that we're coming back to.
От чего отталкиваются при планировании? От модельных времен? Ну, вообще.
The performance on water, of course. Yeah. But sometimes we think like, okay, if you want to perform this time on water, what qualities have to be satisfied? I mean, if you're doing 620 as a heavyweight man on the water, you probably not will be the world champion in single. But if you do we think there are basics that you have to fulfill to be able to perform on water as well.
А срезы есть какие-то еще 500-ка, 1000 метров или только от 2 километров?
Yeah, we think that we use a lot of 500 meters pieces, and we use 1000 meters pieces to evaluate as well. So we think that those, we don't set goals, but we measure those times, and we communicate and see if the start is too slow, and so we, for each individual, we set individual goals as well, but we don't have a timetable that you're supposed to do.
Ну, то есть
Because there's so much different in the water temperature and a lot of different winds, so we think it's hard. So the top group, they're doing the testing in the lab, and the groups below, they do 5,000 meters on the ergometer, because we don't have time to put them all in the lab for money. So when we do the plan, we use science, and we ask ourselves what qualities are important for the performance in our sport, and then we measure our status in regards to those demands. During this autumn, some of the rowers have done a lot of weight training, and some of the rowers have done hardly any weight training, because I think during the autumn it's a time to individualize a lot, to make weak people strong, and people who need extra endurance training, they can do that. So from now and for the rest of the season, we have to do the same program. We ask ourselves after that, if this is our status, how do we develop it, and when to develop what. So, as you all know now, we haven't worked. What's happening from 1st of March now is that we're going to develop sport-specific, rowing-specific endurance. From now we have worked with strengths, and we have worked with general endurance. Now it's going to be sport-specific endurance. And we know that muscle fiber change characteristics, about 2% of the muscle fibers change every day. So what we do today from 1st of March will have an impact on the World Championships. So if our main goal was the European Championships this year, we're a little bit late. But since the main goal is World Championships, I think we're en route. We need to do our priorities, of course, and we also want to think about how can we have a plan that is motivating. We know that we have people who go to universities in USA and row all year round, and they might do that for 3 or 4 years. They don't seem so motivated when the European season comes. So I think it's a good idea for us in Norway to do some cross-country skiing, and we might even compete in cross-country skiing. How to make a program that is motivating. And we're thinking about how our resources are, how much money can we spend. We think about progression, how can we have a good progression during the season, and also variation, because it seems that there are studies, we'll come into them a little bit when we're talking about coaching and leadership. There are studies actually who says that if it's just the same, even how good it is, if it's just the same day after day after day after day, people will lose motivation. So we need variation as well. I'm making the plan, but then also I have to take the consequences of the plan. So we think about when we can coach and how much can we coach. We expect our best rowers to train 2 days a week on their own. Wednesday and Sunday, we expect them to manage themselves. They got the training program, of course, that they're going to fulfill, but they can do it at what time they want during the day, and they don't have to do it together with the rest of the team. If they're a crew boat, of course, but twice a week, 2 days a week, we expect them to manage themselves. Usually we have one training on Sunday morning, and then we have a training on Monday afternoon. So they have 36 hours of rest. And also, of course, we want to do 900 hours of training a year. Then we need to use the Sunday as well. As you can see here, for the training plan in 2019,
Найдите тренировочный план
it's planned
2019
for,
года.
including races, it's 897. We do a plan for a year, then we do a plan for a period, and we will come back to that when we look on this document. And of course we have a plan for the week. As you can see here, every week is described from week 40 to week 39, where the World Championships is. And we have a plan for every week. And then we have a detailed plan for every day. So every day we meet up together, we have a morning meeting. And every day? Every day when we have training, it's like, everybody here, are you healthy? Are you good? This is the plan for today. You're going to warm up. We're going to have the first start there at that time. And for the afternoon, this is our objectives. Most important meeting that we ever have is that morning meeting every day. Because then we can create, you know, that the first key word is on the Olympiatoppen's way of making champions is good daily habits. That's why we start up every day with in the kitchen where we have a rowing center. We have a small kitchen, and we're having a cup of coffee, and this is the plan for the day. This is the objectives for the day. And we have periodization, of course. So every period has its purpose. You can see them in this sheet. You can see them as different colors, and you can find the colors down below. And every period has its purpose, and it's, of course, all the rowers are having this document, so they know what is happening. This period with work with a basic capacity, some of it sport specific. This is a period now. When we're going to Portugal, we're going to sport specific endurance. That is a green. And sometimes some qualities is just to sustain, and some qualities we need to improve. I mean, to improve strength, you probably have to do maybe 4 workouts a week. But to sustain strength, you only need like 1 workout every 10 days. So it's a big difference between improve and sustain. So it's that's what we're thinking about. And we're going to come back to a little bit to when we talk about training, about tapering, to get in really in good shape. And we only do tapering 2 or 3 times a year. So this is a typical year. Starts in October. Here we can do a lot of hypertrophical training to gain muscle volume. The closer to the season we get, the more of hypertrophical training we have to do. Fewer repetitions, higher power. And here we do a lot of general aerobic training. For us, it's cross-country skiing, cycling, running in the autumn. And then now, after New Year, we're doing more sport-specific, more rowing ergometer, and then finally on camps. We know from rowing, from studies, that you need very little anaerobical training to get in good shape. I mean, the studies have shown that if you increase anaerobic training from 2% to 10%, you become a worse rower. So you need very little anaerobic training just during racing season and during supercompensation to row fast. So what we expect from this is that we have a rowing performance who is actually, we're not really good rowers around New Year. We're well trained but not really good rowers. And then we have a little better rowing shape for the World Cup season. And then later on we're hoping to have a good super compensation and perform really well. But what we see here is how many, this is a week number, and here are the specific periods. And the periods are described in color. And what is new, you also have the plan for 2019. There is also another line with white, grey and black, and that is a training load. White is light, grey is medium, and black is a tough, really tough week. And here you can find how many hours of training, how many kilometers on the ergometer for every week. And here are the number of races. Here are how many workouts we do in the different intensities. Intensity 1 is long, slow distance, and intensity 5 is high aerobic. You will get the intensity zones when we talk about training, but here you can see how many workouts every week we do in the different intensities, how many sessions of weights we do, and we're really into one of the really big things in Norway right now is individualization and individualized training programs. So when it says individualization, for Olaf Tufte that might be 2 hours of cycling. For Kjetil Borch that might be rest. So because people are different and need different things, we have a lot of individualization in the training program. And here is activities, also described in the document, what we did. This was before the Olympics, the year before the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro.
Как они определяют индивидуальную подготовку для каждого? Это разговор именно со спортсменом? Каким образом?
I discuss it. So we know that what Kjetil need in general. We know that. We have an idea of that. But it can also be, how do you feeling today? What will motivate you? What do we need to fulfill the former goals? But it is a discussion between me and the athlete. That is also one of the things that I am a little bit proud of, because in that discussion it also comes up other issues. So it's a really good pedagogical tool to have individualization in the training program. And as you can see, this is one of the training programs. This is for early spring. So probably it's a training program who is somewhere here, around week 10 or 12. So this is an authentical week in the preparation for the Olympics in Tokyo 2016. And you can see on 2 occasions it says individualization.
6 зон они используют мощности или интенсивности?
Yes, in Norway there are 5 aerobic zones, and it is actually 3 anaerobic zones as well. So it's 8, but we use 6 in rowing. So it's 5 aerobic zones, from long slow distance to a little bit faster. Number 3 is anaerobic threshold, and number 5 is maximum VO2.
А еще процент выполнения плана.
I think if you look for the medium of the group, it will be really good. But if you look in the training diaries from each and every one, there are variations. We have people who do a little bit more, and we have people who do a little bit less. So this is the medium of the group, you can say. All work in intensity 1 is supposed to be almost non-stop work. And we have something that we call the final touch. And after the World Cup final every year, I have a meeting with each team, and we ask ourselves, how can we improve to both lengths more than our competition? So here says a few fields like technique, physiology, psychology, nutrition, material and lifestyle. It says what should we focus on, and how should we do these things, and how do we evaluate and follow up. Pulsate the year a little bit, because I think to do one of this for every period will get too tiring. Sometimes you just have to rest and do the work, but for the last 6 weeks we have a special document, and we also do a even more detailed plan, and you have both of these documents to prepare for the main event of the year, we do something extra. And our vision is to develop more than their toughest opponents. For instance, the last point here is 10 centimeter longer travel distance each strokes give 20 meter in a race. Olaf and Kjetil, who rode the double in the Rio Olympics, they didn't medal any time during the season, but they got the bronze on the Olympics. So I think that this is a good way, for me, it's a good way to get the final touch.
Они ведут вот просто вообще вот, ну, все команды ведут централизованную подготовку, да, я так понимаю. Находятся точно так же все вместе там на сборах и так далее. У них это происходит централизованно, то есть если сравнивать как нас, или они там где-то по домам, или то, или это, или они там в семьи уходят. Вот этот вопрос меня интересует, если сравнить.
We have what we call the 365-year team, but it means that after the championships they have like a month off, where they can train wherever they want, and of course if we agree on different solutions. Olaf has a family and a farm, so he have to have special solutions, but I have big faith and big trust in him that he do what is required anyway. But mainly we are together 11 months a year.